Keep that going, Brooklyn, for your next storyteller, Christina. Come on, Brooklyn!
Hi. Okay, closer? Okay, cool. Thank you. My ex-husband and I used to engage in a certain satanic practice known as the silent treatment. Almost every month, for at least 2 days to 7, we would stop speaking after a disagreement. I don't know if any of you have tried the silent treatment, but it involves things like a person comes home from work and no one came home from work. A person turns on the television, but you can't hear the people on the TV and their guns and shattered glass. The person breaks a bowl, it's your favorite bowl, but that person is invisible, so you can't perceive your loss. It's basically training each other to be sociopaths. It's cutting off pieces of reality. And so we were doing this one time, and it was long distance. I was in LA for a month, which made it harder, and he was in Brooklyn. And I got into a car accident with a skateboarder in Venice. And I am a very inexperienced driver permanently. And I was at a 4-way stop sign in a residential area, and I was admittedly looking at my GPS, and I was stopped, and no one was there. And then I noticed that a woman was at a corner, and she was in a Jeep, a blonde. She was waiting for me, and I remember everything about her, and it was nighttime, but you could see. And I looked around, I believe. I looked and didn't see anything. It's a 4-way, everyone should stop. And I began to go, and I did not see anything to my left, but I heard skateboarding wheels, very distinct, and then a body went over the hood of the car. And I was like, I've killed a child. And everything sunk. And then a 30-year-old man appeared to the right of the car, and he said, "You fucking hit me!" And I felt a little bit better, not good, but I felt like, oh. And he was moving, and he was punching the car, and he was coming around, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of the car!" And this is the part where my friends like, you lock the door, you call the police, and they tell you which one of you is an idiot. But I didn't do that. I pulled over, and I got out. He had this friend who was ferocious, and his friend was like, "We're not going to call the police, but you broke his board. Do you have any money on you?" And I didn't have a lot, and so they were like, "Well, we'll take your number." And I gave it to them because I was inexperienced and I hadn't seen a certain episode of Better Call Saul. There was no Saul to call at the time. And so after that, I was having nightmares. I'd never experienced anything like that. And he was texting that his wrist felt unusual. And my friends were like, did you tell your husband? What did he say? I was like, it's not really available right now. We're doing this invisibility and audibility thing, you know. But the car I was in was his parents. They lived in California. They let me borrow it. So I had to tell them, and I had to tell him before. So I did. Called him, and he said, "You can't tell my parents." And I was like, "I have to." He's like, "No, just do whatever the skater asks. Be nice." I will tell you about the skater. He was an effective communicator. He had a secure attachment style. He texted. He knew I was going to text back. He made his needs clear. He wanted $80 for the skateboard. He wanted $150 for an X-ray. Even though I think he had insurance, he just wanted it for the trip. I did what he wanted, but he didn't want the relationship to end. So when I was back in Brooklyn, months later, I would just get texts from him and they'd be like, my wrist still hurts. And I would show it to my ex-husband and he'd be like, tell him to try a compress. Send him a link. And I was like, I kind of want to tell him something else. But I didn't. And then ultimately, he ended up calling, and the skater, and he said to me, I hate to drop a bomb on you, but I am a professional musician, and this wrist pain is affecting my career. I ended up going on Google and finding his band and finding him performing the day after the accident with guitar solos, intense guitar solos, his shirt not on, his chest and stomach covered in a Vaseline sheen of joy. And so I ended up telling him, look, I'm sorry that you punched the car over and over and it might hurt your wrist, but I'm not going to be your financial guardian. And he had a lot of comments, but he went away, which made me think about a lot of things in my life, a lot of other aspects, and how maybe effective communication is the way to go.